The American West. Vast stretches of land, mountains, fields. The plants dying or already dead. The ground baking and cracking. Nearly half the country in the grips of a mega drought.
And we are in one of the worst mega droughts that has gripped the West in the last 500 years.
Y2K, Bush versus Gore, Americans focusing on daily life in the year 2000. While out west, the mega drought settling in. Below normal precipitation, not every year, but for most years. The proof in the trees. The rings showing the wet years and the drought years, and perhaps predictions of a drier future.
So we don't know how long this particular mega drought is going to last, but it's very common to have these mega droughts that persist for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And so we don't know what this particular one holds, though.
We do know it's drying out a large swath of the country, from the upper Midwest across to the Pacific Northwest, from the Rocky Mountains west to the Pacific Ocean.
Essentially at our lowest precipitation levels in, if not 40 to 45 years, potentially even longer, going back into the Dust Bowl era of the late 1930s.
Connie Jenkins, growing up in Northern California, bringing her family to Lake Mendocino for a picnic.
Just never seen anything like it. People are usually fishing, swimming, enjoying themselves, and water supply for, you know, all the cities around.
This used to be the bottom of Lake Mendocino, and just like reservoirs across the western United States, it's drying up. That little bit of water that's left, experts here say that's going to be gone by December. The lake dating back to the 1950s, 131 feet deep. Now, just shells and sagebrush covering the ground. You would go water skiing right here in front of us where there's no water on. That's where you would go skiing.
Right here, right in front, skiing, fishing. People fishing from these rocks. I've fished right here where there's nothing.
To the north, Lake Orville at its lowest level ever. The hydroelectric dam offline, the water too low for it to run. And the most famous lake in the west, the Great Salt Lake, less than a third of its regular size, dropping 16 feet, threatening wildlife and human life with arsenic-laced dust clouds.
Even if we get a ton of rain next year, it's just going to be hard even to lift those low reservoir values up to where they should be or where their average conditions are. So even if we only get average precipitation, that's only going to be enough to kind of keep us, limping along at this point.
Drought is absolutely driving the fires, and the main way it's driving the fires is through the fuel moisture.
The drought not just drying up lakes, but drying out forests, fanning massive wildfires, burning more than 6 million acres so far this year. These are mega fires that we've never seen these size before.
They're fires that are blowing through the speed bumps and barriers that normally exist on the landscape.
Dairy farms surviving for generations, now selling off their herds.
And if it continues, we probably will have to sell some more to just make sure we have enough feed to feed everything.
Or enough water to grow everything.
Well, we've always known that a lack of water is a potential hardship for our farm. But to get to the point where it completely stops the farm, we never thought it would happen.
Picturesque tourist towns, hiding portable toilets in plain sight.
So you don't even have enough water right now to flush the toilets?
No. Well, not for the customers.
California's governor asking residents to cut water usage, most failing to comply.
All of us are part of the problem, and all of us are part of the solution. We're here, and that's perfectly fine, and we have to live with nature and with the climate. Use the water that you need, but not a drop more.
Every drop counting. The rainy and snow seasons starting now and stretching through March.
So what you need to have a change of the large-scale weather patterns so that you end up with higher than average precipitation over a period of several years in order to break the mega drought. 1 year of above normal precipitation will not break the cycle that we're in for a mega drought.
The weather forecast, average precipitation at best. The California Department of Water Resources is already warning communities they may not receive any water from the reservoirs next year unless there's a significant increase in rainfall and snow melt.
Now, all this week, right here on Newsy Tonight, we're going to look at the impacts of the Great American Drought on life and businesses. No water to flush toilets, no water to irrigate the crops, and no water to feed the cows. And Chance, we're going to look at some technology that might help in the battle against the drought.